Come on. Come on. And we're live. Okay, so I'm going to leave you and everybody. I apologize. I'm so sorry. I'm late. My computer died. I had to find the charger. And okay, but Wiz is going to talk to you for a few minutes, not too deep, but I'm going to go get somebody and bring them back. Okay, I'll be right back.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, for bearing with us, sticking with the tough times when they get a bit tough for us. We appreciate you hanging around and waiting for part 2 of the discussion. Obviously, we're going to be continuing the talk that we were having last week with regards to the family bashing in particular, which is something that's really gotten up my goat quite recently. We'll talk some more about that. We've got a surprise guest coming on this afternoon. So I'm looking forward to that because at the moment, I don't know. There are people out there who know. I don't even know who it is yet. So this will be interesting. And we'll just see how the rest of the afternoon goes as far as discussion and topics and anyone else who wants to join. So, Linda, I'll pass it back to you, darling.
Well, you'll be surprised. I got to get the person first. I'm having a little issue with this. See, I'm not at home. I'm at my daughter's. So I'm not used to the computer that she has. So I got to, kind of give it a little bit of second here because it's a little slower. Come on. Oh, my Lord, please. Okay, go to it. All right. It's going. All right. You can keep talking, Wiz.
Okay, well, as far as I can. I mean, I might run out of something to say. Right.
Yeah, well, say hi to people in chat. Hi, people in chat.
Let's go back to where we were.
Thank you for waiting for us.
I'd like to go back. Sorry, Linda.
Go ahead, honey.
I'd like to go back to where we were talking about last week. Now, I've got a real problem with people believing that Barb Tzaddik is in any way complicit either in Brendan being coerced into giving a confession, or perhaps guilty after the fact with knowledge that she may have learned that might assist either Stephen or Brendan getting out of prison. First of all, when Brendan was arrested and taken to the sheriff's office, I believe he was taken to Two Rivers Sheriff's Department or police station, whatever. Now, that is ultimately under the control of Manitowoc County. And from what I can understand, they gave Barb Tzaddik a devil of a job trying to find out where Brendan had been taken. Now, we know that the law enforcement out in that neck of the woods are not averse to doing that. They're not averse to all kinds of dirty tricks that they wouldn't get away with in this country or probably many others. But this is Manitowoc. It's a place where they make the rules and even break them. So, yeah, by the time Barbara got to Brendan, apparently it was all over. He'd been coerced out of his confession. They got him to say whatever it was that they needed him to say to be able to lock Stephen Avery away for the rest of his life. There was nothing about justice or truth involved in any of it. And, Barb wasn't complicit in that. Barb didn't have anything to do with Brendan being arrested or kind of battered intellectually, if you like.
Here we go.
All right, go on.
Ah, come on. You better show your face. There
Let's
you
make
are.
it happen.
Who's that? Who is that? Jazz Naz. Welcome, Jazz.
Oh my God. Excellent. Wow, man.
Yep. Are you all shocked? I am.
Hi, Jazz.
How you doing, honey?
Pleased to meet you, fella.
Speak up.
You'd have to speak up a bit, mate. We can't hear you here.
Or turn you up your volume or something. I don't know. But I can see you, and your camera works good.
We can see you, but we can't hear you.
I can hear him a little. I can maybe.
Jazz Naz from the UK, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Welcome, Jazz. Oh, look at everybody's good surprise, Becca says. Hey, Jazz. Whoop, whoop. Ready,
It's a bit better,
happy to
but
see
it's still very quiet.
Jazz Naz. Anyway,
is there any way you can adjust the gain on your microphone, Jazz, to be able to
just talk close, just bring your thing closer to your face, then we can hear you.
Yeah, he'll sort it. He'll work it out.
Are you surprised, Wiz? I'm surprised.
I am.
Yes.
I am surprised.
Yes. I'm very surprised. I'm very happy too. So yeah, I got bad.
Try again, Jazz.
Is that any better?
That's a lot better. Yes, that's 100%. a whole lot better. Thank you very much. Yep, nice to have you on this afternoon.
Yep.
Good to see you.
Thanks for joining.
Well.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I knew I'd get you. See, another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. Come on, get out. I got to get rid of the big yellow dog. So anyway, sorry to interrupt you. Sean, you can continue. Me and Jazz will listen, and then Jazz can do what he feels like doing, you know?
Cool. Yeah, as I was saying, Barb had no part in Brendan's arrest or the coercion of a confession for the benefit of Manitowoc County. He was arrested apparently by Uyghur or Fassbender, or that's either Calumet, who had been leading the investigation or was supposed to be leading the investigation, and quarterbacked by Tom Fassbender of the Department of Justice. Now, I have to ask myself, why wasn't he taken to Calumet County Sheriff's Office? Why was he taken to Two Rivers? Because that is just
isn't that where Fassbender's from?
You know, you're either accused from an investigation or you're not.
Right.
Why now are you going to take the ground-breaking piece of evidence that's going to bust the case wide open straight to the department that you've been suing for $36 million? That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? I mean, really?
Well, I want to know, was Andy Colburn's hands the machinery that they had to get? You know, he was shaking the cabinet. Was he the machinery that they were supposed to get, or the equipment?
The search equipment, precisely. Yeah. The piece of equipment that kind of magically found the key.
Right. Well, if I can just say, if you honestly can believe they did all this, which we see they did, then what makes you think, what does anybody think that they did not do this similar thing, but in a way to make the family pull apart, to push blame onto people, and to make them look bad? They did. And that's what
they would stop at nothing.
That's what they did with Barb. They made her look bad when they were actually playing games with her head, telling her to drive around and do this, not asking her permission. She sat right there in court and said, bullshit. Or whatever she said, he did not.
Well, you know, people are coming down on Barb like she's got some kind of value as to getting Stephen and Brendan out. I don't believe for a moment that if she had, or if she felt that she had some kind of snippet of information that she was able to drop that would help get either of them out, I don't believe she'd be holding on to it.
No.
It's just, like you know, anyone who thinks that she sacrificed her son Brendan to save Bobby or even Scott, listen, you can forget that shit, man.
Everybody says she lied. Well, you know what? How do we know why she did it?
What do you mean?
We know what she lied about. Maybe she was just unaware of it. And when she said something, you know what I mean? Imagine what's going on in your life. You know what I'm saying? How are you going to know every single thing or remember every single thing? And you get crucified for it. You know what I'm saying? It's not fair. The whole family is victims, not just Brendan and Stephen, but Teresa, Brendan, Stephen, and all their families.
I just, you know, the family have been through enough. They've been suffering this shit since before 1985. Forget 1985. 1985, which is the beginning of a new chapter for the Avery versus Manitowoc feud. That's the way it is. Mm-hmm. That's the bigger picture, and that's what you need to remain hold of what you're looking at. You can think that this is a series of interconnected smaller events. And to all intents and purposes, on the face value, it might appear that way. But look, how many times is lightning striking the same place twice? It just doesn't happen. And yet we've got Stephen Avery locked up again, this time for life, for something that he didn't do. Right. If you think that anyone in Manchester Workwear Academy, with regards to the state's point of view, has been honest about this,
right,
you need to have a good long look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself if you thought you knew who you were. Because look, they're not going to be honest with anybody at all. They're lying to their taxpayers. They're lying to their kids at the same table they sit and eat.
Yeah.
You know, Dad, did Stephen Avery kill Teresa Holbeck? Well, yes, he did. And they're lying. Do you think their kids don't know they're lying? Of course they know. But they have to buy it, right?
This. Brendan, they told Barb that Brendan was a drug addict. Now, I don't know if I've heard that before, but to me, that I don't remember hearing that. And that is like amazing to me. J-Jax just said that. Thank you very much, J-Jax. Hi, Mo's. You know, did you know that, Jazz? What do you think, Jazz? You never heard that?
No, that's the first I've heard that. Honestly, never heard that before.
Have you heard that, Wiz?
No, I've never heard it. It's the first time I've ever heard it. It sounds ridiculous. It's just,
oh my God. See, so look at the steps they took to get Stephen, by even including Brendan. So if you don't think that they're going to do shit to make the Brendan's mother and family look bad, you're crazy. They do.
Oh, they don't care.
They don't give a shit at all.
They don't.
They have no moral compass whatsoever.
The only thing that they're focused on is getting Stephen Avery locked in prison.
And now
that's the only thing they care about.
Succeeded with it. And now they're going to hang on to that lie till they die,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Or I think Kathleen Zellner's going to kick their ass. I'm so sorry. I just believe in her so
I hope she does.
And
I really do.
It's going to be maybe a trial for her, but none of this Alfred please shit. She said Stephen would never go for it, and she won't either. You know, I've heard people say that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I know.
So what do you think?
But no, not for him, not for Stephen.
Yeah. No. See, some people might not have
heard it. Why would he give in to them now? No, I can't see that.
Jack's busted something open. People are on here going, what? They never heard that. I don't recall ever hearing that. I might have, but I'm not sure. I really don't think so. That's crazy. That's crazy. And they made the last in the March 1st, wasn't it March 1st interview, Sean? That's when Barb was in divorce court.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Her, during that, they knew she was going to be in court.
I believe so. I mean, they were very clever. They knew Barb's. They had her on a drug possession charge, so she would have had hearings for that. They had the divorce hearings and all the rest of it. They knew she would have been busy for that. All they had to do was select the times when she was going to be unavailable to assist Brendan, because she was going to be otherwise tied up doing unavoidable stuff that she would not have been able to miss. And then when she stood there making her pleadings in front of a divorce judge, they've got Brendan in an interview room and they're tearing him to shreds. Brendan's got no one. They know he's got no one.
Right.
I mean, at this point,
they made sure
they're trying to say that he was still being treated as a witness.
His help was no help. His help was worked for the state.
Disgraceful.
Okay. His help was getting instructions on what to do. Because when he sat there with O'Kelly and he had to sign that thing saying, I'm sorry or I'm not sorry. Excuse me. When the kid wrote the truth, you told him he was a liar. And then when he lied, you told him he was a good kid. What the?
O'Kelly was only brought in apparently to administer.
Wiegert started, so did Liger. They started that.
What I heard was that O'Kelly was originally brought in by Kaczynski to administer a polygraph test and to analyse the results. Now, he was putting himself forward as a polygraph expert.
He lied.
Amongst other things, right?
And he was lied on the internet for $100 if you want to know the truth.
Of course he lied. So he's taken the polygraph test, he's given the polygraph test, and then he's lied to his client, telling him he failed the client's test.
Lawyers. He lied to the lawyer too. Okay. He lied and he was.
But people want to bash Barb. People want to, I mean? the family haven't been through enough, they would have put
Right.
them under more. And it's just, why?
Well, like I said last week,
I've got family.
Barbara's
I wouldn't want my
walking
family to go through it.
Yeah, Barb's walking her mother's path, and she grew up with it. So she grew up with it, and she's walking this path. Leave her
Doesn't
alone.
make it any easier to bear,
Be a
does it?
supporter of her too. She's a victim. The whole families are victims, and the family against family shit. This all that crap. Giving people platforms to get hate on their fam. I don't agree with that. I am so against all that hate stuff. I cannot handle it. You know, we just need to quit and leave them do their thing and not give it no attention.
I agree.
And then it will, you know what I'm saying? Because that's all it is attention. Because it's funny about the timing when things come out and the things that are said. You know what I mean? From people that did not even believe in their family in the beginning until, and I don't care. Yeah, that's wrong. You know? And y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Brad and his little crap. I don't care. It's wrong. It's totally wrong. Totally wrong to have him on a platform where he can spew hate at a mother of an innocent kid. Okay. And then
he's very unprofessional.
Your timing is like, oh, so you're so obvious. Attention. That's all it is. If we don't give him no attention, it'll go away. Or at least he won't get it from us. You know, well, supporters that are really supporters and don't have other things in their mind about supporting, because that's what I think. If you can go
well, that's all right. I ain't going to worry about Brad anyway. I mean, he's found his lawyer for $3,000 or whatever it is. As far as I'm concerned, he can go and
let's see some
lawyer away all to his heart's content. You know,
well, let's
lawyer away to death if he
if
wants.
He
I don't care. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Maybe his lawyer will take his $3,000 and, you know.
That is part of here, you know, and it creates a tiff, and it moves people from supporting to gossip and hate and drama.
Yeah, and that's all it is, really. That's all it feeds into, is that kind of need for a constant conversation about it. Whether the conversation's actually about anything that's got any ring of truth or anything about it is irrelevant, so long as they're talking about it. They don't, you know, some people just don't care. Fine, let them get on with it. But, you know, the family bashing has to stop, really. It doesn't serve any purpose whatsoever, and there's nothing to be gained from it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I honestly think that if we just keep on, you know, be a little, you know, what was that? I was going to say something. I had oh my gosh, I lost that thought. I really did.
It's like Barb and Pete have to live with this every day. And, you know, all the time you're going to get kind of conflict between people like Brad and Barb. But the only people who are suffering are Barb and Pete, because even though Pete's been divorced from his wife for however many years, he doesn't want to see it. He's Brendan's dad.
Family together.
He doesn't want to see this shit going on, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, they got family, you know, that's their family. They don't need it. They don't need that stuff.
It's just not fair to do it.
You are living with this every single day, have been for all this time, and Barb is most all of her life. So give her a break, man. If you really think she's gonna sacrifice one kid for another, you're crazy.
I think
she doesn't know anything.
The whole back.
Even her husband, I'm sorry, I said it last week. She'll never, ever, ever. Would she do that for her kids? She's been married how many times? You think she's gonna just, you know? She's been divorced. Okay. She won't tolerate that crap. You know something and you got my kid in prison. Are you serious? No. I don't know.
I don't believe so. No.
What their reasons were for lying is the reason, right? That's on them, not on Barb.
That's right. That's it. That's spot on.
Yeah.
I agree, yeah. It's coming, Jace. What's your views, fella?
Well, hopefully this case isn't going to go on much longer. Hopefully Catherine Dillon will get in front of us at some point and get to argue the case. But how long it's going to be, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, time's always a major factor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the waiting period makes people do gossip and hate and bashing. It really does. Because if you're busy in the case, you know, you kind of steer away from it, or you don't hear it, or you don't pay attention to it. You know what I mean? And you know, it's just too much. You know, we're here for a reason. It takes us away from what we're doing. You know, accusatory things, and that's not right. We're not here to do that. We're here to undo that.
I'm hoping that Kathleen Zellner will bring forth. She will bring forward some truth with this. And I think, we got to hope that maybe in the sidelines or in the periphery of the big game, there are some truths that emerge as a result of all of this investigating that kind of put certain things to bed, certain issues. And, it ain't about making putting people's minds at rest and stuff like that. Barb Saddick isn't a threat. Steve Avery and Brendan Dassey aren't a threat to anybody, apart from justice and the truth. Let's hope Kathleen Zellner is able to bring out more truth than just the innocence of Brendan and Stephen. So,
right, that'd be good. Jazz,
good.
You got a question from the audience.
Who's that?
One of your top fans, Darkside, says, "What are your stands on the case, Jazz?"
Oh, she knows what her stands are. I just can't believe how both of them got convicted on this. It's weird that Stephen got convicted of murder, but not of mutilating a corpse. Doesn't make any sense to me. How you can get convicted of one thing but the other, and then later on down the line, I can't question the actual conviction.
Well, that was asked today, right? I mean, so if you look at this case, you've been here a while. What's the one thing that you just really go, how did they not see that? How did they not see that? That's something I always go, there's too many things for me to say that. But honestly, the thing the most is Brendan and the words and the not meeting the evidence, that kind of thing. And how they took a word of a 16-year-old kid. And then the other kid that lied and brought this all to their attention, Kayla, gets believed that she.
Yeah.
It's so,
I would like to know.
Every time Brendan,
I would like to know what steps were taken to either confirm or deny Brendan's statement.
Nothing.
I mean, what did they do? Now they're supposed to kind of corroborate any kind of confession. What steps were taken by Uyghur and Fassbender personally to examine the blood, the mattress, the bedroom, the garage, the burn pit? I'll bet there was none, because they weren't looking for corroboration. They just wanted the confession. That's all they needed. They could dress up everything else any way they liked. They're the ones who are in control. So really and truly, what they say goes, and the public are none the wiser. So there you are. They just needed Brendan to say it. There was no corroboration required. Just your confession, Brendan. That'll do nicely.
That's
bastards.
That's a lot of conviction, getting a false confession in the first place.
Right.
I think someone said 25% of wrongful convictions have a false confession at some point.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Corroboration required. Just your confession, Brendan. That'll do nicely.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I'm just puzzled by him so badly. I mean, his case just eats me away every night.
It's distressing to think that two seasoned professionals would walk into an interview room, and you cannot tell me that they didn't have an agenda as far as Brendan was concerned. And what upsets me is the malice with which they've gone in there to screw a confession out of Brendan. They weren't interested in the truth. There was only one objective at the end of the day, and that was to get something out of Brendan that would lock Stephen Avery in prison. That was it.
Right.
That was their purpose. Teresa Holback didn't come into it. Not really. Right. She was just a circumstantial kind of tool, if you like, for want of a better way of describing her. That's all she was, a means to an end. Stephen Avery's in prison, apparently because of Teresa Holback, which of course we all know didn't happen. And it's all bullshit. It's all dressing. It's all theatre. It's all dressing, and it's all crap.
Yeah, it is. It's a story that they made up as they went along, and just put it together. I mean, I don't have any idea about. We're all speculating. I just really can't believe that we're just regular people and we see all this wrong, and that they do too. And people can't do anything about it. Look at all the people that write the omnibus letters, or
The amicus letters, the amicus briefs,
for Brendan. I mean, that's a lot of really important people that have done 250
amicus briefs,
and look
from
at
prosecutors and top lawyers
judges
all across America. You know, you name it, they're all there. And it's just, you know, does what they believe, does what they know mean nothing?
That's what I'm saying.
And you're saying, sure. What has best practices got to do with it? What's modern thinking got to do with it? It's got everything to do with it. It's absolutely got everything to do with it.
Very true.
Brendan was overwhelmed, and they knew it.
Yeah.
They knew that he was going to be the weakest link. They targeted him, they isolated him, and they dominated him until he delivered what they demanded.
Does it not bother anybody that they convicted Stephen and they still pursued Brendan after he was convicted? I mean, that bothers me. That means it was deliberate.
It was spite. It was malice. Absolutely, it was malicious.
Yeah.
It was any dig that they could inflict on the Avery family. That's any hole's a goal. And that's what Brendan was. He was just a ball to be kicked into the back of a net. That was it.
Yep. And
this greatest shot.
It certainly drives me crazy that he was convicted already. So they didn't need Brendan, right? They could have dropped those charges. The prosecutor could have dropped the charges, said, you know what, I don't think we should bring this to court because after looking at it further, maybe there's a little bit of problems here we might run down the line with because of the confession and his age. And you know what I mean? That's what a decent prosecutor that wants justice would have did. Honestly.
Well, there's nothing decent comes out of Calumet. There isn't much decent comes out of Manitowoc either.
Right. But that's what I'm saying is, to me, they didn't need Brendan to get him. They got him. Right? They got him.
Well, I mean, I don't know how far. You see, if they didn't prosecute Brendan, Stephen might have had a reason to appeal
to life already. He was already had that conviction on him. Boom, you couldn't have let Brendan
But
go.
what I mean is, not prosecuting Brendan might give Stephen an extra weight on any appeal that he launched post conviction. So,
no, they're obviously not, right? Because if Stephen gets out, doesn't guarantee Brendan getting out.
No, I understand that.
They're not linked. They're two different cases. They're two different ways of dying. They're two different murder charges. I mean, you know what I
think that's deliberate as well. That's deliberate. If one of them gets out, they can maintain the other conviction, and that way, someone from the Avery family is still guilty of killing Teresa Holbeck. So for the state, it's a win-win either way. And it's doubling down, I suppose you could call it. It's just disgraceful.
Did not need Brendan no more, so they should have let him go. That's just
absolutely
exactly
disgusting.
How I feel. It is.
I don't know how they go home, get into the same beds as their wives, sit in the same living rooms as their kids, do their homework at the kitchen table with their kids. What? You call yourself a family man and you do that to Brendan Dassey?
Well,
are you fucking mad?
Like I said, if it was your son, you'd want something done, right? That's my new saying.
Well,
if it was your son, you'd want something done.
Brendan's in a kind of halfway between my oldest and my youngest. And he could just as easily be my son. And, oh, fucking hell.
Mm-hmm. He is, Kratz is some evil kind of person, dude. He's real evil. I mean, he thinks it's good to have sexting conversations with abuse victims. Okay, so why would a 16-year-old learning disability child have any conscience on him? Why would he lose a bit of sleep?
And something for Manitowoc residents to think about here. All of what they did to Brendan, is all to protect Tom Kusurek.
Yeah.
Bear that in mind. Is
Yeah.
Tom Kasurek worth your tax dollars? Because it's
No.
quite blatantly obvious that Stephen Avery isn't. Despite the fact that he deserves it and he's entitled to that money, you would rather see him banged up in prison than have that added tax put on your whatever it is you pay on your tax returns every year. Yeah, it's cheaper to lock him up than it is to pay him compensation. I get that, but is it the right thing to do? How do you live with yourselves as taxpayers in Manitowoc? You know, Tom Kasurek, he must have some golden arse if everybody's going around bending down to kiss it. Yeah. Everyone wants to kiss Tom Kasurek's arse. Listen, Tom Kasurek
You can
bend
talk,
down.
Jazz. You can interrupt and go, you're right, Wiz, because that's what this is all about. Get in there and say it.
Tom Kasurek can bend down on his knees and he can kiss my arse. He's evil.
Yeah.
Evil.
But I just really find Kratz and his procedures real wrong, considering they say they needed Brendan to get Stephen. Okay, so they did that with the press conference and all that. That sealed their fate, that press conference did. Let's just face that. I mean, it really turned the tables. And once he was convicted, they should have let him go. Kratz could have easily said, well, you know, we're going to have some problems with this. Yeah, he could have. I mean, really?
He could have.
But he didn't, because he's that kind of fucking evil.
He wouldn't. Linda, he couldn't really, because it doesn't look good from a legal point of view, right?
He's a prosecutor. Yes, it does. Oh, my God. He could have got brownie points.
No. He was never going to do. This is the malice. This is the malice behind his prosecution of Brendan, in my view, is a demonstration of the malice levied by the state against the Avery family. It was to drive home a point.
Imagine
we've got your boy, he's doing life. Fuck you. We're the ones who are in charge here. Yeah. Fuck that.
I'm telling you right now, if he would have stopped that, he would have been, oh, he's not a bad guy. He'd saved Brendan. Okay, so maybe we won't look at Steve because he stopped with Brendan.
Scumbag.
I'm telling you right now, a lot of people got on this case because of Brendan. Because of what they did to Brendan.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
because
I did.
he was questionable, okay? So if you would have said no to Brendan, you'd have had it sealed. Nobody'd be looking at this shit, dude. You'd be saying, oh, he let this poor kid go. Yes, he did. You know, I just see it that way. If he would have not prosecuted him, it would have been a total different story.
That's not what prosecutors do, though. They won't let go of anything.
Well, some of them do. Some of them have done.
Some of them have got morals.
I can't go through with them. I've seen it. Ones with morals.
Regardless. like Norfolk Forward, we've got 4 people confessed to crime. None of them admitted it. Evidence that makes sense. They continue to pursue it regardless of what the evidence led to. Got 4 people to confess to a crime didn't do. The prosecutor didn't think it was weird that none of them had a DNA match to any of the victim or the DNA they had there.
Nothing at all. It's just, you know, it's unreasonable for an experienced detective to believe that any of them, you know, it's just, and no one's raised any questions about it apart from, what was his name, Remiker or Dedirin, when he first interviewed Steve and he said, look, you're all barking up the wrong tree. He's had nothing to do with it.
Him and Link. Remiker and Link.
Yeah, he switched kind of overnight to believing that Steve's guilty. And there's no fucking evidence at all. Not really. It's all crap. And they all know it. Everyone on the state's behalf, they all know it. It's all bullshit. But they're just towing the line.
Right.
They're just towing the county line. That's all it is for them. Do as you're told, protect your job, protect your pension. Keep your annual taxes down, your county taxes and all the rest of it. Bullshit.
Yeah. It's a political thing for sure. I mean, I agree with all that. Definitely political. You know, and I never really thought that way because I really don't know how politics are working because I'm not really into it, you know, but
money, Linda, follow the money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money and property and who's who, you know. And if anybody out there hasn't read or heard The Wrecking Crew, I suggest you listen to it or read it because really is a good side on like the Herman brothers and Kasurik and how how they get in on the sheriffs and how they let him in and grandfathering him in and he knows who and he knows him and you know what I mean. It's kind of like a pick and choose who can you trust kind of thing, don't you think? Like let's get this guy in here because he'll do what we say. You know what I mean? So I thought it was interesting myself. I really did.
Yeah.
Have you read that book, Jazz, or heard or listened to it?
Blinding Justice as well. Blinding Justice is quite good because that was written by a former prosecutor, so you get to see both sides of the prosecution and the defense. So he's currently working, I think he's a teacher right now, but he got to see both sides of how prosecution works and how the defense works as well, especially post conviction.
Yeah. And I mean, we're all forgetting that there's a killer out there still. Somebody was a killer. Somebody did this, and that person's still free.
Well, we're assuming Teresa was murdered. That is assuming Teresa was murdered.
Yes,
it could have been an accidental death. It could have been a sudden death. It could have been completely natural. None of us will ever know.
Total accident.
It could have been any. None of us will know.
We don't know. Right. That's sad, though. See, and that starts on the police side and their investigation. Every wrongful conviction starts in an investigation, and the investigation is screwed. So is the case.
Well, that's where the holdbacks come into it. I mean, the holdbacks have got an awful lot to answer for in this case. There's a lot of unanswered questions. There's a lot of shady shit around the holdbacks. I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw any of them. They've maintained their silence. Again, I think they're just towing the party line. I've said it before. I think they may have kind of sold their child's name to convict Stephen Avery. I think they're very complicit in this. They know an awful lot more than they're letting on, and I think they are part of the injustice. Definitely.
People are asking where you're from, Jazz. He's an Essex boy, huh? I don't know where that is. Yeah. You and Wiz would know, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm near the coast, so I'm England, Stuffy.
They want to know about you, so speak about yourself. Where'd you come from? When'd you like the case? What's your big thing? No. Talk about what you know me. But really, tell everybody where you come from if you want to. But when and why did you get in this case?
Okay, so originally a couple people in work were talking about making a murderer. I was overhearing the conversation, and a couple months after the show aired, I decided to pick up and watch it with my partner. And we just got engrossed in the first season from then. And then I just didn't really start looking into it seriously till maybe about 2 years ago. 2-3 years ago, and I was talking to a friend of mine, Carl Martin, on Twitter, and he, and he got me hooked up into all these different communities, foul play, your community, and that's how basically I followed the case basically from there.
Damn.
But yeah, I've gone deeper and deeper down in that hole since then.
Oh, Jazz, you're a mod. You can take that link I gave you, copy it, and put it in there. No, you don't have to do that. I'm kidding. Just kidding. Wiz can do it too.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's very interesting. I'm glad. Yeah, I mean, you know how we all are. So when do you all think that Kathleen's going to get some kind of answer or state'll answer or whatever?
I think it'll come sooner than people are expecting. I think we'll see huge steps within the court system within the next couple of years, and it will be kind of at the doorstep then of Stephen being released. So,
do you really think they're going to drag it on for another couple of years?
Well, I mean, they'll drag it out as long as they can, Linda.
But I mean, the Court of Appeals, you think they're going to come back that many times? I'm sorry, Jazz. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was hoping they were going to give us a response by about April, but I don't see them. Well, I imagine they can drag it as long as they want to, really. But I was hoping they would have a response by at least maybe September, August. Maybe, but I don't know.
But
It's been dragging for a long time now.
okay, wild guess. What do you think they're going to do? Say no?
I
They're
think
going to deny?
there's definitely enough there to it, or an evidentiary at least.
You think
In
so,
my
Wiz?
opinion, but
Wizard, can you hear us?
Yeah, sorry. I mean, the way it's going, I see the state stalling this at every step. They will try to bury it in legal red tape for as long as they can, struggling whilst they've tried to find a solution to the problem, which is Stephen Avery getting out of prison.
Right.
That day, the day when that happens, is rapidly approaching, and they're running out of options really, really quick. Now, what we do know is they're not going to throw their hands up and say, okay, we've had enough. You know, that's not going to happen. So they will try to fight this at, I believe, every step. They will just tie it up in the courts and try to keep it buried that way. I mean, it runs true to their form. That's the way they've handled all of it underneath a veneer of legality and kind of procedure. That's the state. That's their modus operandi. I think they will continue in that vein, and perhaps within a couple of years. I do think it will take that long. I don't think it's going to happen anytime. I don't think it's going to happen really quickly or overnight. You know, anyone who's expecting a quick fix to this. I
don't think it's going to take a couple of years. I think they're going to get. I think the Court of Appeals is getting sick of it. They kind of have already warned them like 2 times ago, so might be some taking it. You know what I mean? She keeps on coming up with more and more and more. So she's got these layers of issues that I don't think can be ignored for very much longer. I mean, I know they don't have no set times when they have to respond, and that is really what takes up the time. You know what I mean? Because if you ask me, it don't take 6 months to read a fucking motion. You know what I mean?
No,
we can do it
in
how long? You know what I'm saying? So they are that way. COVID adds to it. I kind of expect them to do something this time, the Court of Appeals. I mean, this is like what, the 4th time going back to him, or 3rd time? So I don't even know. I just know it's been too many, and she keeps on layer caking it. And to me, I think at some point, even if you're corrupt, you got to pay attention so you don't get in trouble. You know, I mean, because maybe somebody would look at this and say, hey, wait a minute, what's going on in the state of Wisconsin here? You know what I mean? That could happen. So.
Well, I mean, I suppose it would be nice. It would be nice if the Court of Appeal turned around, come forward, and said, "Okay, look, we've had enough of this. We're going to organise a retrial, or whatever. We're going to order a retrial or an evidentiary hearing." I think someone needs to take a big, bold step forward before they're going to see any resolve with this case. I'm hoping it comes from the Court of Appeal. I'm not expecting it, but you know,
Well, Jinxie says, do you think they will remand it back to the circuit court when they answer? I don't. I think they're going to give her something. I don't know how you all think. And Sammy says, hogwash. They will keep blowing this off, and as long as they can, and make this case go away.
Yeah.
Question for you guys from Jinxie. Do you think they will? Okay, we just did that, honey. So I'm asking.
When I do answer.
Everyone's I
do. I think what will happen is the circuit, the appeal court will send it back to the circuit court, and I think what they will do is they will accompany that request with some stern words of advice. Is what I think will happen. I don't think they'll do anything. I think they'll say lots. They've got plenty that they want to say. They've had their opportunities. You know, they've not listened. The circuit court has told them twice before, you know, you need to pull your finger out here and stop acting the goat. And they carry on acting the goat. So we'll see what happens. I think the circuit, the appeal court will send it back, and there'll be a final warning or something like that. If it comes before us again, we're going to take the issue off you and we'll deal with it. Now, whether they can do that or not, I don't know, but I would presume that I assume that they could.
And Jazz?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the procedure is that it goes back down to the lower court, and depending on what happened there, it goes back up, rounded up to the court of appeal. I'm not 100% sure procedure or not, but I can't trust the judge to make any sort of decision that's going to make any sense, really.
Yeah, they got Colin
Just
up
goes
there
to make
higher up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still got, Peg Lautenschlager's family up there. So, look at how they attacked Brendan, so he wouldn't win. So I don't know. But Zellner does say she doesn't win at this level. She wins at higher courts. So,
Yeah.
That, I don't know. We can cross our fingers. But, Eric Cozy's birthday was the other day.
Yeah.
Those of you know. And Steven's got a birthday coming up too. Yeah, the 9th, I think, of July, right? 9th or 10th, maybe. Something like that. Yeah. So, hey, birthday's coming around. Maybe he'll get a birthday wish.
It would be nice. I mean, I would wish it for him. Yeah, I absolutely would. I hope he gets a bit of luck on his birthday. It'd be really nice.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I am just, I'm waiting for Raleigh, really waiting for Raleigh because I want to go to the governor's office and I want to make some noise. I want to go tell Wiegert that he's an asshole and what he did to that kid was a child abuse and that he's, what, but in a nice way. With signs and not my big mouth because I might tell him off, but I want to do that. And I know a lot of other people are going to do it too. So maybe we could make it. I personally don't think that the governor is the way to go. I'm sorry. I really just don't. I don't see it happening unless he's going to get out and maybe he'll do it on a last thing, but I kind of doubt it. I really do not think so.
Well, I don't. I mean, Evers, I think, is a waste of time. I mean, don't get me wrong. I admire anybody who persists in a campaign to try to swing his opinion and his thinking, but personally, I think it's a waste of time. You're putting a lot of time and a lot of energy and emotion into that, and you obviously pinning a lot of hope on it. I'm sorry. I think it's just. I don't think Evers will ever come through.
I don't either.
That will never happen.
I don't either.
No.
The requirements to actually get clemency anyway, so I don't think he'll change his mind just because of spending Dassey or anyone else really.
Right. Because
the requirements to get clemency.
Innocence doesn't mean nothing. Did you know that?
That's not to some. That's right, Linda. You're correct. Doesn't mean anything to some people.
That's right.
It didn't to Uyghur and Fassbender. It never did to Kratz, Willis, any of them. Why should it make any difference to Evers? He's just another. He's just another state politician riding the gravy train. He'll do all he has to do to keep his pension in place and his privileges, his health benefits.
Right.
Doesn't want to lose all that, does he?
Right.
Pointless throwing that away for someone like Brendan Dassey.
But there's so many Brendan Dasseys in the world that we don't even know about.
So
that's if this, you can't think this is an isolated case. We see it all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Far from it.
Them people did get relief. Maybe it was a very long time, but they still got relief. So you got to hang on to that hope. I mean, there's some pretty corrupt places out there, like New York, what they did to the Central Park 5. Look at what they did to West Memphis 3. Even though they took a plea deal, I mean, at that point with them guys, I don't think they would ever got out ever if they didn't do that. Sure. So I don't know where I would be if I was in jail. I don't know what I would do if I was innocent. Wow. I might want to just take a plea deal and say, let me out, but I know Stephen and Brendan don't want to do that,
Well, I admire that, but, let's hope it doesn't come down to that.
I think they're waiting for people to die off. Honestly, too.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty sad, too,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm happy Jazz is here. It's nice to have Jazz on, even though he's not saying much. But this is his first time. We'll break him in, guys, and we'll get him on here just like Wiz. Do you remember when Wiz came on? Right, Wiz?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Jazz is like it's either his internet or it's mine.
No, I can't hear him either.
Oh, okay. Might be his internet. Oh, poor Jazz. I'm really happy he came on.
I am. It's very good of him for a debut appearance on YouTube or anyone else, anywhere else online. We appreciate that. It's good of you to come on as you did. Lovely.
So you want to sign off to everybody and tell them to join us next time?
This has been a Checking Convictions production. Thank you very much, everybody.
Low budget.
Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today. We appreciate your patience waiting whilst we got the show on the road.
Yeah,
but
sorry,
guys. We are
sorry.
very glad you hung around. Thank you for joining the chat and taking part.
Oh, gotta wait a minute now because I got that slow internet. So we got an awkward moment. Crickets. Bye, guys. Leave us some suggestions what you really want to talk about.